And condos shocked me the most, again, by continuing to be the most sticky in terms of prices. Those ring in the month with an average selling price of $748,000, which represents a 1.9% drop month over month, so nothing really drastic there, right? But this is still really shocking to me due to the overall level of inventory in that segment of the market, which we'll be going over shortly. Summer is definitely summerin'. What do I mean by this statement? The fact that the summer months are generally a slower time of year relative to the spring and fall market is true here in the city of Toronto and the greater Toronto area real estate market, especially when you're rolling over from June to July. If you go back over the past 8 years of data, you'll see the trend where the beginning of the year in March and April will have more overall home sales than in the dead of the summer in July and August for most cases. And why is that? People are usually enjoying themselves in the summer, traveling, spending time with family, having a quick day or weekend trips, maybe close to home, whatever the case may be. My parents, for example, they bought their current home, my childhood home, in the month of June 2001. A lot of times people that have kids want to be in a specific school district and will start to home shop a couple of months in advance. When the time comes, their children will be situated by the beginning of the school year. Many of these reasons mentioned here are why the summer is usually a slower time of year for the real estate market here in the GTA. Sales were down 13% month over month in 2024 between June and July, and I've heard some people kind of prematurely saying that this latest rate cut by the Bank of Canada, which was a 25 basis point decrease to the overnight lending rate, wasn't actually enough to save us or spur activity to a greater volume than where we were a month ago. But this month over month decline in sales volume from June to July actually wasn't that bad as previous years. If you're new to the channel, my name is Trey, folks, and I'm a realtor here in the city of Toronto and the GTA. I really enjoy making these educational content videos to help you navigate the market here despite where you're at on your journey. No pressure at all, but if you would like to connect for a quick education call, or if you had any questions about real estate in general, you can do so by clicking that first link down below and picking a time that suits your schedule. Now that the housekeeping is out of the way, let's get back to it. July 2023 had 29% fewer sales than June of that same year. July 2022 had 24% fewer sales relative to the month of June 2022. July 2021, when we look there, had 15% fewer sales than June 2021. July 2019 was a bit more of a stronger year and only decreased by 3% in comparison to June 2019. And in 2017, July had 26% fewer sales or transactions relative to June of that same year. So the dip in month over month transactions for this July 2024 being at 13% is totally normal behavior in the Toronto real estate market for summer. Year over year approach, the GTA had 3% more transactions in July 2024 than the same point last year. This is definitely due to affordability becoming a little bit more manageable with those interest rates coming down. If you remember last year, that overnight lending rate maxed out at 5% in July, so sentiment at that time was different to where we're at today. Things are tricky, I'm not gonna lie. Before getting to prices though, I want to go over a real example that occurred with my colleague and I. So we had a detached property up for sale, which we were actually just able to firm up, but showings on this property were slow for the majority of the month in July and picked up a really solid amount after the Bank of Canada made their move. A week or so after is when the offer came in, and then we had more people reaching out on realtor.ca inquiring about if the home was still available and if they could arrange a showing. So it's clear that overall sentiment is slightly changing and becoming more positive on the consumer side of things. Detached properties sold for an average selling price of $1.648 million in July 2024, represented by a decrease of 6.29% month over month. This was the most notable drop among all asset classes for the month. Semis, those are up next. That category had also eased slightly by 2.23% month over month to an average selling price of $1.23 million. Townhouses sold for $970K on average in July 2024, which was also represented by a decrease of 3.75% month over month. And condos shocked me the most, again, by continuing to be the most sticky in terms of prices. Those ring in the month with an average selling price of $748,000, which represents a 1.9% drop month over month, so nothing really drastic there, right? But this is still really shocking to me due to the overall level of inventory in that segment of the market, which we'll be going over shortly. On a broader level, if you compare the entire GTA housing market, average prices in July 2024 to July 2023, you'll notice that prices basically remained unchanged at $1.106 million, which was down just 0.9%. Detached properties had an inventory rate of 3.4 months, early onset of a more balanced market. Semi-detached properties had an inventory rate of 2.3 months in the city of Toronto for July 2024, so still in the seller's market there. Freehold townhomes, those ring in at 3.26 months of inventory in the city, and condos round out the list with 6.18 months of inventory, so a clear buyer's market there. And downtown condos, if we look at those specifically, those sit at roughly 7.5 months depending on the pocket. The real question is how many of these condo listings are also available for rent. It seems like quite a few of these units are listed on the rental market and for sale on the MLS, but I don't have exact numbers on this stat. I was recently helping out a renter here in the city, and despite our offer looking the best out of the 4 or 5 that were placed on the property, the owners had chosen to go a different route, terminate the lease listing, and only focus on getting the unit sold. Next up, we will cover the most active price points for each asset class, and this will give you a better sense of how competitive the market that you're looking in is. So starting off with detached properties, things were the most competitive in between $1 million to $1.5 million. Semi-detached properties were the most active from $900,000 to $1.25 million. Freehold townhouses were kind of split between $800,000 to $899,000, and then from $1 million to that $1.25 million mark. And condos were most active at $500,000 to $700,000. There was also a lot of sales in between $400,000 to $499,000 too, which I found really interesting. I've said it before, but a lot of that condo inventory in downtown Toronto is from investors who are looking to exit the market. But the floor plans and the style of units that they're trying to sell are very, very difficult for an end user to be comfortable in. So I'd be curious to see what those floor plans or the layouts are on those units below $500,000. Lastly, we will conclude with a quick rental update. Average asking rents in the city of Toronto remain unchanged on a month-over-month approach, but have eased by almost 6% year over year. One bedrooms in July 2024 sat at an average rental rate of $2,443. Two beds came in at basically $3,200 on average, and three bedrooms averaged at $3,691 in the month of July 2024. Keep in mind that parking, locker, and additional add-ons will cause these numbers to change. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate you. Take care, and we'll catch you later. Remember to trust the process and to always fall in love with your journey.